Who am I? I'm kind of a hybrid of various different Qigong systems, as I think probably all of the teachers are today. And when I was talking earlier about seeing so many roots that are common to them, that's because I've studied through various different forms myself. I started with what are called people's Qigong forms, or before that, before the Communist Party, they were known as peasant Qigong, which is a rather unpleasant name, but found sort of basic systems there, such as the brocades, which a lot of people have come across. And then eventually I started studying with Master Lam, who was just teaching standing Qigong. I studied various Tai Chi forms, different types of yoga. Eventually, I kept on hearing this word Qigong, and it kind of drew me. And eventually, I found, as I say, the people's forms of Qigong, and then standing Qigong. And then after that, I studied as a medical Qigong therapist. And so I still use Qigong as a therapy, one-to-one sessions with people, helping people on their recovery journeys. So that took up a lot of my time. I really got very deeply into sort of yin and yang theory, through treasure theory, five elements, especially five elements, one of my sort of my loves. And then after that, I stumbled across Zheneng Qigong. So I'll tell you a little about that as we go along. But the idea is that for about the last probably 12, 13, 15 years, not quite sure, I've been teaching Zheneng Qigong. And when I say a synergy of all of these things, Zheneng Qigong is a synergy as well. So the guy who has created it is a man called Dr. Pang. Dr. Pang's still alive, is in his 80s, living in Beijing. He's no longer the leader of Zheneng Qigong because, as people who know anything about Qigong will tell you, there was a 20-year hiatus in China where Qigong was no longer sort of in the open. It was no longer, it was sort of persona non grata. Fortunately, last time I was in China, it was just coming back out and is slowly kind of redeveloping again. Nonetheless, his school still exists, and China's loss in the sort of breakdown of Qigong has been our gain, because we've had all these marvelous teachers kind of, spread around the globe. And so suddenly Zheneng Qigong has really developed. So he was a young martial artist, then a Tai Chi gold medalist. And then he studied over the years with 19 different grandmasters from all sorts of different routes. And so he was exposed, and it's odd, in China, prodigies like himself are very rarely offered the information, but he had these people come to him and find him. And so for a long time, he was being given all this information by these 19 different kind of lineage holders. And he started to build his own style. At the same time, he became a Western GP. So the full, 7 years or whatever it is that you train to become a Western doctor. And then after that, he started to become a doctor of Chinese medicine, another 5 or 7 years. So quite a sort of, packed in a lot of information there, and developed these styles as he went along. In the 1980s, he developed his first style, which was something to do with cranes, but he found it was a little bit too, it didn't produce the results he always wanted. So he developed this style that I often teach, which is called lift qi up and pour qi down. And so it is this kind of thing that we've been seeing all through the day of moving qi through the body. It's a form that has its exercises all joined together, and it's a little bit like a Tai Chi form that doesn't move around. So I think some of his Tai Chi came, added to the Qigong. He made this form up, and eventually he made this extraordinary place called the Mediciner's Hospital, where 300,000 people went through the Mediciner's Hospital, and 95% of those people showed a significant cure. 5% instant remission, 45% you couldn't tell they'd been ill. All these illnesses of cancers and heart disease and diabetes and all, and anything you'd think of, people were curing themselves of. So we kind of are I say we, earlier on in the day, you met John, who is also from the Three Monkeys School. We teach people to become teachers, but in my own personal practice in Bath, I use those forms to help people heal themselves, and on an individual basis or on a kind of longer basis. So, or on a class basis, should I say. So the question is, what are these forms about? And especially OneQi. So we kind of figured that, OneQi was a space that had to be birthed. that there were so many Qigong teachers around the UK, so much information. And it's been a historical kind of thing throughout Qigong that people have learned and built up these incredible skills, and then they died, and all the skills kind of go with them. And so we thought, there must be a place where we can open up Qigong to a wider audience, let people know the extraordinary things that can be achieved just by working with your own body, and hopefully help things like the National Health Service to improve, help our young people to get an education early. So OneQi is a kind of a place for Qigong to find a home where we can give this information out, where you can learn more about it, where you can find a teacher, we can find new students, we can connect ourselves together. You get to look at people. And so we thought our first talk, which today has been about, was the idea of what can we do when we hit this kind of January slump? How can we help ourselves? So I had to think about that, and I was thinking, okay, theory, how does that work for 5 elements? At this time of the year, it means that your kidneys are under a lot of pressure. Okay, so the 5 elements splits the year into 5 pieces, and essentially this coldest, darkest part is governed by your kidneys. I know it sounds bizarre, but each organ gets a season, each organ has different sort of emotions attached to it, and so it turns out that at this time of the year, we have problems with our fear levels. Okay, so fear and kidneys. How on earth would you connect that? But the idea is that if you think about someone who gets a terrible shock, they might pee themselves, and so kidneys are all part of your water system. So it's that kind of idea that the kidneys are linked with fear. This time of the year is linked with fear. Darkness is a natural kind of time for us to be fearful. I don't like going out in the dark. So it's all kind of ties up together. And so let's just roll through more ideas about fear. At this time of year, we suddenly end up getting a kind of lower backache. It's kind of, oh dear, my back's very sore. I've got this kind of going on. Very often it's not your back at all. Very often it's your kidneys kind of radiating their energy out into the muscles. So it's a great time of year to keep your lower back really warm. Chinese ladies wrap massive, great big, silk scarves around their middles. If you've got, don't have a microwave, microwaves are bad, but if you have got one, stick a buckwheat pillow in your microwave and warm up your kidneys. Keep your kidneys, don't wander around in a crop top, which is always a good advice for me. And so, yes, so we're keeping our kidneys nice and warm at this time of year to keep our fear levels down, to keep our kidney energy going. What other fears might you have at this time of year? Okay, so interestingly, the kind of kidneys and fear and money that's often tied up, and it comes as Christmas time when you have to buy 1,000 presents, and then the tax returns just coming along, shortly. So there's an awful lot of fear and money, kind of ground up in this as well. So what can we do to lift our levels of energy to really help our kidneys? Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about was the site of the kidneys themselves. So your kidneys kind of sit on your back, in the middle here. Interestingly enough, one of the key points that we use sits in the small of your back. It's called Ming Men. So I just wanted to show you a little movement with your tailbone, just so you get a sort of an idea about Ming Men. So just stand in this nice, generous shoulder width, doesn't really matter how wide, and then just take your hands and you can just join them at the small of your back. Watch me as I do this. I tip my tailbone to the front, and you can see my hands come apart without moving them. I tip my tailbone to the back, and my hands close. So it's just a very simple swing of the tailbone forwards and backwards. So as you move your tailbone forwards, swing it and lift it up. Imagine you could touch your tailbone onto your forehead, and then swing your tailbone backwards and lift it up, and imagine you could touch the back of your head. And as you go forwards and backwards like this, you're gently opening the small of your back. Okay, so we're going to think about Ming Men and the association with the kidneys in a moment. We'll do some exercise, enough talk, let's do something. Stand in a wide stance. Anybody who's ever worked with me knows that you can't do Qigong with me without we do turning the waist. So it's a very simple exercise, comes from deep Taoist traditions. It's one of my favorites. It's about getting this energy center in the middle of your body moving. Let the arms hang down by your side. Gently turn and look over your shoulder and just let your back stretch a little bit. Let's do the same on the other side. Just do that a couple of times. All we're doing is just sort of feeling into the back, seeing everything's okay, make sure everything's sort of moving comfortably and easily. And then from the belly, turn from side to side, allow the arms to hang loose. And just be aware of what your wrist is doing. As you do this, your wrist is gently tapping onto the small of your back. So this is the point we've just been talking about. We're just gently tapping onto the Ming Men gate. So it sits between L2 and L3 on your spine. Some people have it between L3 and L4. So we might just say L3. That's probably going to do it. And as your hands tap onto there, you're just gently opening this energy gate at the back. So we've heard a lot about Qi today, this energy that flows around your body. And now we're just stimulating one of the major gateways into the body. So what would be the purpose of that? Qigong is all about balance. It's all about getting your energy back into balance. It's perhaps a surprise to find out your energy goes out of balance, but it can do. And that's essentially what pain is. So when you feel pain, it's like a blockage of qi. It's qi that can't flow. When you have a chronic illness, it's just pain that has kind of gone beyond that and become a pattern inside your body. And so we're working away with trying to release blockages and get balance restored to the body. You can open up these acupuncture points just by tapping on them. So here we're tapping onto one on the belly button, tapping onto one on the lower back. Also with your palms, you can let those open up and slap on the side of your body, and that opens up those as well. Sorry, the acupuncture points on your hands, to be more accurate. So we just allow the hands to tap onto the body, the acupuncture points open, and the inference here is that as you open to the qi around you, that you can actually kind of merge with the energy around you. That the qi, perhaps let's say with too high a concentration inside your body, would kind of leave, and that qi around you that wants to come into the body to help balance out can go in. So if you studied biology at school, you'd know about osmosis. So it's kind of like that. It's this flowing out and flowing in until everything comes back to balance. Okay, so we'll just do this for a moment or two longer. I had something else on my mind I wanted to womble on about. It'll come back in a moment. Okay, so when you stop, just do so very gently, very slowly. Don't stop abruptly. Just let everything quietly come to a stop. Okay, so put your hands in the earth. Gently lift a ball of qi up, above the head, and pour it down. Just let it come down all the way to your belly, and then just release the hands and imagine this qi continues to flow down your legs and go into the ground. So we're creating a sort of lovely circuit with the earth. So let's have hands in the earth, lift up. And then we take the qi downwards. Draw the qi through your body. Return the qi into the earth. One more time. Okay, so sometimes you get what are called qi reactions. Sometimes doing an exercise can make you feel really dizzy. And if that happens, this is the antidote to it. Just allow the qi to move from your head, chest, belly, legs, earth, and feel your connection. So if at any stage you suddenly come over wobbly, forget what I'm doing, just continue doing that. Okay, we'll do some simple forward and back bends, just something to get the back moving, because we're going to do another back exercise later. So we're just going to echo that in this simple version. So keep your legs apart, it's at a comfortable wide stance, keep your knees soft. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go up and down. So just note this little exercise before you try it. Just note this, that you have your hands and ears together, and then you tip over hands and ears. So as you can see, my body stays straight, but it's just the arms and neck that kind of go over. Oh, my cat's going to join me. That's nice. He often does. Okay, so we're just manipulating the top of the neck by taking arms and ears over. And then after that, we're going to go into the back. So when we roll down with the spine, we're just kind of going over one vertebra at a time, gently tipping over. You have to very carefully judge how far your back will take you. You may be able to go all the way into a perfect pike bend with your hands flat on the floor, you know, but on the other hand, you might find that that's only going to take you down as far as your knees. If that's as far as you want to go because of the state of your back, that's fine. But there is another tip, which is when you go down to wherever your back naturally goes to, in your mind's eye, see yourself extending all the way down. Okay? So use your mind to allow yourself to get into the really lowest bend whilst your body does what it can manage. When we come back up, we're going to roll back up with the arms and ears as well. And then we'll just gently lean back and stretch up. So we're just going to flow up and down a few times just to get the spine going. Oh dear. I think my cat's decided he wants to go out. Hold on a second. See, yeah, when you do Qigong, you can't govern for real life, can you? It's just the way it is. Okay, so knees bent. Draw the hands up, and we'll just put them up beside the ears. Let's try this first part. Just tip over, ears and arms. When the arms get parallel to the floor, just roll into your upper back, roll into your middle back, and gently roll into your lower back. And just let the body relax to wherever you can naturally go to. Let's come back up again. Roll the spine up vertebra by vertebra, about halfway up your back, arms and ears joined together, and you gently draw the hands up. Bring yourself up to the top. And then just let your knees and hips go forward, and you can just lean back a little bit. So only as far as feels safe. Stretch up. And let's curl over again. Arms and ears coordinated, so the top of the neck bends. And when your arms are parallel to the floor, then you can go into the upper back. Roll gently into the middle back. And roll slowly down to the lower back. Okay, let's come back up again. Roll up. Join arms and ears together. Coordinate them as they come up. So we're just trying to loosen our spine. Stretch up and roll down. So we'll just do 2 or 3 more of these just to kind of condition the spine for the exercise that we're going to do a little bit later. So it's quite a strong exercise, the other one I've chosen. But I'll give you all the careful warnings about it as we go through it. I've probably chosen it because it's one of my personal bête noires. Been working with it for years and I'm beginning to love it these days. Okay, so gently roll up and down. One more time. Head down to the floor. And then roll back up again. No particular breathing, just natural breathing. And then hands come over the crown of the head and just pour chi for a moment. Just imagine it's almost like standing in a shower of chi. Then we take our hands down the sides, just drift them down. And then again, we'll go back to gathering chi. Hands in the earth, lift up. And pour down. Draw the chi down through your body. Sink the chi down to your belly. Just release your hands and imagine this lovely flow of chi through your legs, through your feet, deep into the earth. Let's gather a couple more times, or as many times as you wish, really, but normally 3 is about enough. However, if you feel you want to do 23, that's also fine. This kind of being inverted, where your head goes down to the ground, sometimes the chi can move very quickly into your head. And it gives you this chi reaction where you suddenly feel wobbly. And this can bring you back to yourself. You're effectively combing chi hands through a chi head, deep into the chi belly. And then relaxing and allowing the chi to flow and connect deep into the earth. Okay, great. So we'll look at a couple of exercises from the Winter Qigong set. So we bring our feet together. We use a closed stance. So Dr. Pang kind of pioneered this stance. It's like an opening to Tai Chi. But the idea is that if you study your Chinese medicine, that when your legs are pressed together like this, the kidney channels are joined, and it creates a kind of a very powerful kidney chi energy that moves up in your body. So once we do some of the exercise in the wide stance, quite a few come from this closed stance. There's also one other sort of fundamental that appears. It's been interesting to hear the other teachers. There's one fundamental appears to me about the Zheneng system that set it apart for me, was that it's about connecting yourself into the universe. So I think that in the 1970s, 80s, 90s, Dr. Pang, really encountered things like quantum science. I mean, he was at the cutting edge of Chinese science, as it were. And so I think that quantum science is very much part of it. And that's why you'll find my personal website is called quantumqigong.co.uk. A little bit of subliminal advertising there. Not that subliminal, to be fair. The idea is that you are not the source of the qi, that the universe is the source of the qi. So whereas most of my colleagues will probably spend time cultivating themselves in order to move energy out, with Zheneng Qigong, it's different to that. It's about understanding you can connect to everything there is and being able to use that qi no matter who you are. You don't have to be a teacher or have learned the methods. John showed a very simple method today, which was just called La Qi, uses the entire universe. So yeah, we have this idea that allowing the universe to flow through you is a beneficial way. And we're just going to work through some exercises that allow you kind of to really open up this core area of your back. So the first one, and particularly this one is excellent for the kidneys. I'll tell you a little story about it. So it starts in the closed foot posture where the 2 feet are completely together. Doesn't necessarily suit you if you've got fallen arches like myself, but you start there anyway, and then we move into a more comfortable stance in a moment. You can set your hands up, just bring them into the prayer position in front of your heart, and then we're just going to drift the heel of the hand back along the ribs, back along the ribs, and then your middle finger is kind of pointing at the lowest rib, and you just rotate your hands towards the back and just lightly touch onto the ribs. Your thumb is kind of catching lowest rib at the back, first finger catching lowest rib at the front, keeping the shoulders lifted. And then we have an instruction which is called step on qi. And basically with step on qi, you put your weight on the heels, you open your toes to 90 degrees, and then you put your weight on your toes and you come out into a nice kind of shoulder width posture. Okay, and if you need to adjust your feet from there, just get a comfortable stance. Soft knees, nice straight back. Okay, so this exercise is called swirl hips, and it harks back to that first thing that I showed you when we started, the tailbone moving. So push your tailbone forwards as if you could lift it up to touch yourself on the top of the head, on the forehead, and then rotate to your left-hand side, and then lift the tailbone up behind, and rotate to the right-hand side. Lift the tailbone right up at the front, and go left. Lift it right up at the back, and go right. Tailbone lifts front, turn left. Tailbone lifts back, turn right. Okay, so first point, try and stop your head from moving. So very often when we do kind of Western sport exercises and things like that, you'll find the whole upper body's moving. And this one, we're just focusing in to lower dantian. So in Zheneng Qigong, just to make things more complex, we call lower dantian Mingmen Palace. So it's close to the Mingmen Gate and it's just deep inside the body. So we're just gently moving this exercise to stimulate lower dantian. But as we work our way around, of course, you remember from that little opening, that what I was saying was that by lifting the tailbone up behind, we're squeezing the lower back. And by lifting the tailbone up at the front, we're opening the lower back. So this gently massages the lower back, gently opening and gently closing this L3, L4 kind of area. And of course, what else sits there but the kidneys? So as you lift your tailbone up, the kidneys get a little squeeze. As you move your tailbone to the front and lift it up, the kidneys get a little stretch. So we have this perfect little kidney exercise, which is ideal for stimulating your kidneys during the winter time. And as mentioned before, our poor old kidneys end up under a lot of pressure at this time of year. Right, so let's have a little bit of bad news about the kidneys then. Kidneys, the sort of, well, I say people call them, but I suspect it's actually probably me, the batteries of life. When your kidneys run down, then that's pretty much it. So we have this kind of idea that if we keep our kidneys strong, we're going to lengthen our life. But the kidneys are all tied up in all sorts of other aspects. Clearly, what your grandma would call your waterworks, that's all part of it, the urinary system, but also sexual function. And so to keep sexual function healthy, you have to keep your kidneys healthy. There are other things, other signs that might make you think, that person's kidneys are running a bit low, such as losing a bit of hair, such as hair going white or grey. The kidneys govern that as well. One of the other things is the hearing, would you believe? And so if you think about the idea of having two ears on the side of your head shaped like kidneys, and then you think about the actual kidneys, one on either side of the body, you can see where you can get a kind of analogy of kidneys governing hearing as well. And so when you start to think about, sort of things like osteoporosis or, that kind of thing as well. So what we're basically describing is, unfortunately, old age. So the younger you keep your kidneys, the younger your whole body will seem. And if you think about, your grandma with grey hair and spine a bit crocked and hearing gone and having to rush to the loo, you've just typified kidneys in one shot, and fearful, very fearful. So we're just going to keep working around for a couple of seconds, a couple of turns more, and then we'll rotate it. But as we go, just remind yourself, lifting up at the front, lifting up at the back, lifting up at the front, lifting up at the back. You're kind of almost imagining that you're lifting up at the sides as well, although clearly your hips are in the way. Let's just gently, gently draw that to a stop in the center. Okay, so let's go again. Just see, are the hands just still gently touching the ribs, shoulders lifted a little bit? Okay, so swing the tailbone forwards and lift it up as if you could touch your forehead. Let's go to the right. Lift the tailbone up at the back and turn left. Lift at the front, go right. Lift at the back, go left. Front lift, turn right. Back lift, turn left. Lifting at the front, lifting at the right, lifting at the back, lifting at the left. Try and imagine it's lifted the whole way around. Keep the head as steady as you can. Try to stop it moving. Try and sort of sandwich everything kind of below the chest and above the knee, really. Try to really focus everything in. And the more you focus in to this core area, the more the qi moves into that. So using the idea qi dao, where the mind goes, the qi follows. So this really helps promote the flow of qi deep into the lower energy field. And the more you fill lower energy field, the more kidneys are going to benefit from that. So we'd got as far as thinking about all the bad news from kidneys. Actually, the good news from kidneys, one of the things, one of my colleagues was using this particular exercise, and she went off to Ireland and was teaching there. And a couple she met had come on the Qigong course, and they'd been doing their IVF, trying to have a baby for several years and had no luck at all. And so she said, right, do this exercise, and not just the wife, the husband, both of you do it 3 times a day for 20 minutes each day. And she didn't hear anything back from that, but she went across to teach there the next year, and they turned up at the course with their baby saying, look, we did it for about a month. And so that's it. It's about getting the qi flowing in your kidneys. And I'm just straining the gray matter to try and think. I can't remember, in ancient Chinese text, it's something like the right kidney is for the sexual function and the left kidney for the urinary function. Can't remember. All those guys who know will probably be shouting out, but it's something like that, that one governs one and one governs the other. But the point about it is that what you need to do is to look after both your kidneys at this time of year. Okay, so lower back, kidneys live there. We're massaging the lower back. It's nice when we're doing something like this because often when I'm doing classes, I'm teaching a form or I'm teaching a whole load of, I do 5 classes a week online. So you can have a look on quantumqigong.co.uk and come join Zoom. But the thing about it is that very often you're just kind of, I'm teaching an entire form. So I don't get a chance to kind of just zone into something like this. It's really nice to have time to do a practice like this. So if you're someone who has picked up a ping from what I've been saying, my goodness, I have to go to the loo all the time. If that suddenly happened to you, then take this as a prescription from me. Do this exercise 3 times a day, 20 minutes, 10 minutes either way, and just see how it will affect you. Really help. Lower back gets much more soft. And I'm just going to ask you to keep going for a few more revolutions while I just quickly show you this. I'm just going to sit and I'm going to keep going with the exercise. So when you sit with my teachers in China, you find them all doing this with their tummies going around. We often sort of sit there and watch a movie in China, some sort of bizarre sort of Buddhist film that's got no idea what's going on because it's subtitled into 20 languages. But they all sit there and you'll see the whole crowd, about 20 people sort of gyrating around in this fashion. You can see we're doing exactly the same thing in a sitting posture as we're doing in a standing posture. So don't think that you can't do this, sitting just as well to gain the benefits of it. So let's just go around 2 or 3 more times. And then gently bring it to a stop in the middle. Okay, and then we finish this exercise off tailbone front to back. So you just swing tailbone to the front. Imagine you've got a monkey's tail. You can touch yourself on the forehead. Swing your tail to the back and touch yourself on the back of the head. Swing forwards and lift up. I'm sure there's a whole load of sort of Darwinian conversation to be had about imagining you've got a tail, but let's not worry about that. Just imagine you've got a tail, swing it forward and backwards a few times just to open and close the lower back. Great. And then bring that to a stop. Okay, lovely. So just release the hands. You can just let the hands shake out. Bring the feet back into the standing posture. We're just going to run through, I've got about another 6-7 minutes left. We're just going to run through a simple exercise called bowed body. Okay, so it echoes the first up and down exercise that we did, but it's just a little bit more stringent. So just be aware of your lower back when you do this. Be kind to yourself. We're using the same idea of using arms and ears, but this time we're going to go with completely straight legs and the knees locked if possible. Okay, so that is going to govern, depending on your lower back, it's going to govern how far you're able to get down. You might just find that your hamstrings are so tight that you end up, sort of only getting down to here. That's really no problem at all. You can just come up and go down as you wish. When we get down to the lowest comfortable posture that suits you, the lowest comfortable posture that's not going to hurt you, then we're going to gently dip and stretch towards the floor. We're going to make a little turn to the side and stretch towards the floor, and a turn to the side, stretch towards the floor. And the final superb exercise is you put your hands on the back of your legs and you draw your head towards your knees and curl up. So it's a very strong exercise. I really want you to be careful with your back. There's always a beginner's version that anybody can make of these exercises. It's about being sensible, careful, and take it nice and easy. Right, so let's begin. Let's just take the hands up above the head, stretch them up into the blue sky, palms facing forwards. Arms and ears joined together and the legs as straight as you can make them. Just gently turn over the head and arms as we've done before to slowly work your way down till the arms are kind of parallel to the floor. Now we think about the upper back. We just lift into the upper back and bend it over. Lift into the middle back, bend it over, and lift into the lower back and gently bend it over. So now you start to work your way down. When you're in this forward pike bend, you kind of just decide how far you feel comfortable with. Can you go any lower? If you're shaped as I am, sometimes you can tuck your tummy in and get a little bit lower as well. And slowly work your way down, trying to keep the legs as straight as you can, locked back if necessary. And it's unusual in Qigong to find any locked legs, but it's a
a very good hamstring stretch that you get here. When you've found your posture, make sure that the back of your neck is totally relaxed. If you're lifting your head up to look at me, then you're blocking the flow of chi into your brain. So really try to keep the back of your neck wide open and just trust that you're doing the right thing. So just gently stretch down towards your toes. Little stretch, 1, 2, and 3. Just come up a little bit, a few inches up, so the stress is off your back. Turn to your left-hand side. See if you can go around towards 90 degrees if you can, and then lower yourself a little bit and find a, inverted commas, comfortable position. Let's stretch from the floor. 1, 2, 3. Lift the back up a bit, rotate round to the front, rotate round to the right, sink down. Just relax there for a moment or two. And again, stretching for the floor. 1, 2, and 3. Lift up, rotate front, and eventually just take your hands along the feet towards your Achilles tendon. If you can massage the Achilles, that's great. Gently massage the back of your calves, wherever you can get hold of, and then gently hold there. What we're going to do is draw the head towards the knees and very softly up towards the lap. 1, release, 2, and release, 3. Then let the arms hang down. So you can just use your tailbone to help you stand upright. Imagine lifting your tailbone up into the blue sky behind you, point it upwards, and then push it towards the front and feel the spine building up, vertebra by vertebra. Join your arms and ears together. Draw yourself slowly up to full height and give your body a wave as if you were a bulrush blowing in the breeze. So if you pick up a bit of tension from that back bend, you can just gently wave back and forwards. Okay, so as you can see, it's a strong old exercise, probably one of the most potent that I teach. So we'd be very careful with our lower back. Stretch up again, hands into the blue sky, tip over the head, the arms, the ears, make sure those legs are nice and straight, tip over the rest of the body, slowly working over, curling our way down and relaxing. So you can imagine what this is doing for your kidneys, for your lower back. You can just kind of almost feel them. You can put your hands on your kidneys, give a bit of a rub if you like. Just tap the lower back. So legs straight, arms are hanging down. Let's a little stretch for the floor. 1, 2, and 3. Lift up, rotate to your left-hand side, sink down. Little stretch again. 1, 2, 3. Lift up, rotate front, rotate right, sink down. 1, 2, 3. Lift up and come round to the front. Hands towards the back of the legs. Where can you grab on? Doesn't really matter, but if you can massage calves, thighs, Achilles, whatever's working for you. Back of the neck nice and relaxed. Then holding the back of the legs, draw the head towards the knees and curl it to your lap. 1, 2, 3. Let the arms hang down by your sides. Tailbone lifts up behind. Tailbone swings to the front. Body curls up. Head, arms, and ears come up as one piece. Draw yourself up to full height. Give yourself a bit of a wave back and forwards. Just releasing. Good. And then bring the hands over the top of the head. And let your hands down over the top of the head. Down the center line of your body. And all the way down to your belly. Middle finger presses belly button. Just relax your hands there for a moment. Okay, as you stand here, feel every cell of your body. Fill every cell of your body with light, with energy. Imagine yourself as an amazing being of light, every cell in your body, working really well. All the functions of your body returning to perfect working order. Renewing all the functions of your body. So we're just going to finish off. Let the hands gently down. We're going to gather chi, so just take the hands in the earth, lift chi up. Pull the chi down through your body.
Release the hands, let it flow into the ground. Let's do a couple more of those. Last one. This time, we're going to gather the qi and come down to the belly, and then we'll scoop some qi in a different way. So just draw the hands down, let your middle fingers arrive at the tummy, and then just flare the hands out to the sides, out to the back. Let's gather a beautiful ball of qi and draw it towards the belly. Draw it deep into the belly. Hold it deep inside. This is what we call the Mingmen Palace. Mingmen energy field filled with qi, supporting your whole life function, supporting your kidneys, but also obviously heart, lungs, spleen, pancreas, and liver, all the other minor organs. So let's just gather one more time, hands at the side, flare out to the side, draw the qi back, deep inside the belly. And relax, hold the qi inside. As you stand here, just imagine yourself standing in your Wei Qi layer. So that's the kind of energetic shield around you. Someone this morning or at the earlier sessions described it, as Alessandro, described it as this ready Brett glow. So your qi field around you, protecting you, keeps away all those nasty viruses and bacteria, keeps away any energy you no longer require, and you inside, safe, well, all of the functions of your body returning to perfect working order. All of the functions of your body normal. So let's just turn 3 circles around the belly. Just gathers qi in, holds energy inside. And as we go the other way around, it just tells your body, finished. Finished our day of Qigong. Wow. Finished our OneQi project day. Hold all that qi in there. Big smile on your face. Allow your hands to relax down by your side. Definitely give a bit of a shake out. And then in Zheneng Qigong, we put our hands up and we shout, Hao La. Hao La means everything is good already. Everything is already fixed. So if you fancy putting your hands up and shouting, Hao La, it's a very sort of powerful, exciting thing to do at the end. Gives you kind of a bit of a lift. Well, thank you very much. Oh, look, Clara's come and join us again. That's good to see you, Clara. And yeah, I think I think we're probably done.